After hours is live again. We are back to shaking and baking. We got people hopping on. What is going on, friends, family, friends, peeps in the specific community? Say what is up, what is good. I want to know who I'm hanging out with tonight. We got Dr. Chris rocking a pink shirt. Woo! What is up? Come on. IFCO banner. We gotta get the specific on there. There it is. There it is. Who is here hanging out? Say what's up. Say where you're coming from. I want to know what we got going on. What's been up, friends? Um, Today is just me. I've been getting some solo work in. What's up, Ralph from Sherwood? Ralph the Farmer Jr. saying what's up. What's up, Ralph? Um, I've been this is actually my second solo one. Did I do a solo one last week? I think so. I think last week was movement. What's up, Miss Tammy? Yeah, so Dr. Grant has a big a meeting tonight, and then Dr. Cam had late patients, and I just called him. I was all like, "Hey, are you hopping on the show with me?" And he's all like, "Dude, I got 6 notes to do. One of them's a new patient note," and he's like, "I mean, I can hop on for a little bit." I was like, "Dude, just don't worry about it. Like, get the notes done, get home to the fam. I got it." And so we get another solo night with Chris. So hopefully you guys are excited for that. And the theme tonight is going. What's up, Miss Gina? What's up, Alexis? We got friends. I got a lot of friends here. What's up? And the topic that we decided the people need, and from just based off what we've been noticing has been burnout. And so it'd be great actually to hear maybe some of where you guys get stuck, if and when you all experience burnout. What kind of come up? What are those little like stop gates that you guys might experience? Where do you get kind of stuck at? Just so I can kind of cater this to you guys. So almost like a little Q&A about burnout. So if you have thoughts, questions coming to your minds, please plug that into the chat. That will help me facilitate this kind of flow. I'm rocking a pink shirt because we just had Mother's Day. So I figured that was appropriate. It just felt correct. I'm coming to you live from my apartment. It's actually quite nice that we can do this anywhere we want. And that's pretty sweet. Any kind of details, any kind of housekeeping things. I'm pretty sure all of you guys are plugged in with our app and are subscribed to our YouTube and getting all this stuff going. I just released a health house guide. So last time I kind of went in on this concept called Health House, and we dove in a little bit on movement. And I just released my guide I made for it. I think it's about like 24 pages. It covers the pieces of the house, which are movement, nourishment, sleep, regeneration, and function. The way that it kind of goes is we have a foundation of a house, 3 pillars of a house, and then a roof to a house. So we basically, the pillars and the roof are what you tend to at home. So the pillars are movement, nourishment, sleep. The roof is your mental well-being, and then the foundation is function, is your nervous system. So the top 4, the 3 pillars and the roof, are what you tend to at home, and those are things that ought to be tended to on a daily basis. So make sure moving daily, eating clean daily, getting some good quality sleep, and doing something for our mind. Whether it is learning something, whether it is doing some kind of like self inventory through meditation or journaling, make sure we're getting our prayers in and being intentful with those and actually connecting and spending time with it, getting kind of deep with it. Those are all really things to make sure that we are staying connected and grounded to ourselves. So then that way we can do what we can to pour out to others, because as humans, that is some of our baseline nature, is we want to just help and support others. Kind of like what we do with the show. So going in on burnout, we got one comment that says, "I have to watch not getting burnt out with work." And with work, it is really tough. Work can almost feel like a trap sometimes. It can almost feel like a cage sometimes. And I heard something very recently. that was kind of, what's the word? It was impactful, kind of a momentum changer for myself. And the concept was basically when we're doing things, there's two sides to a coin. When you're doing anything, you either have either the thing that you're doing, it is serving you, is filling your cup up, or you are serving it. So you have one coin, two sides to it. Either the thing that you're doing, it is serving you, it's filling you up, it's keeping you juiced up, it's keeping you energized, motivated, you want to do it, or you are serving it. And that was a very interesting frame of mind to hear for myself. Um, and part of that was just like, I mean, I'm big on like routines. I'm big on habits and having good, clean habits, and doing stuff daily, doing things weekly, doing things monthly, that help keep me fulfilled. And those are also parts of the pieces that keep me going when maybe I'm not in kind of like that energetic, like abundant type state, frame of mind. And I was kind of in that a little bit, like March and April. And part of that was I wasn't really like kind of connected, like, hey, why am I doing all this extra stuff? Like a lot of the things that we do outside of chiropractic is the actual work. Chiropractic is the thing that we do and that we got our degree in and that we provide service for, and the service that we charge a fee for. But really, that's the part that we like enjoy and are fulfilled with. But all the things that are geared towards even creating an opportunity to take care of someone, that's the actual like work for us. It's not our actual job title, but being a doctor and also running your own business, it's the business side of thing. For us, that's work, even though what we're passionate about is the doctorate side. So for us, we really have to have that big frame of mind of like, okay, like how is this serving me, and how can I keep myself energized and motivated to show up and do the business side of thing, the work side of thing, on a day in day out basis, weekly basis. Because like for us, I'm sure for all of you as well, like there's 52 weeks in the year, and it's tough to stay in a pretty like jazzed up energy state for 52 weeks. It's hard to be sustainable. And one thing that Dr. Grant really hammers into us, and we have to remind him too, is to ride at 80%. To ride at 80%. Don't go too just all out, full throttle, 120%, just to be going at 20% the next week. We can stay at a consistent, sustainable 80% and just chip away. That's where the progress is really made. Whether you're running your own business or whether it's just work and staying sustainable at work. I mean, it's a little bit tricky when you're running a 9 to 5, getting paid a salary. But that frame of mind was really powerful for me, and potentially that might be for you guys too. Like of all the things that we do, and it doesn't have to be applied just to work, but really the things that you do like at home, like the things that you do before work, the things that you do after work. Um, like what are those pieces that keep you sustainable? And there's parts of it where it's like it helps it with my mood and my how jazzed up I am to actually show up. Like if you're like there was one thing I heard where it was like a good check-in point is if are you excited to get out of bed in the morning? Like not to just like that's like you wake up, your eyes pop up, and like are you like oh snap, like I, another day is here, another morning is here, or are you also like let's go, it's the morning, let's get after, I'm excited to go do what I get to go do today. That's a really good check-in point because part of burnout is not just like it, part of it is knowing what to do when you're in it, part of it is also recognizing when you're in it. So really step one with burnout is awareness. Things that people tend to do when they're burnt out is they start being on their phone a lot more, start being on their phone a heck of a lot more, start basically dissociating and trying to find ways. They call it like giving like time for me or self-care, but really like they're on their phone or watching TV, drinking a couple glasses of wine, almost like numbing out. They're using it to numb out, instead of actually leaning in and trying to identify, okay, why am I burnt out? Because when burnout happens, um, okay, I got a little comment from Gina. So yes, because I tend to run 1,000 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden I feel like I hit a brick wall. Have to keep on top of self care, and at times with loved ones. Okay, So this is a great plugin. What's up, Danny Land? What is going on? This is fantastic plugin. So, like I was saying, big part of burnout, A, is awareness, figuring out, am I actually in that burnt out state? And so part of that is like you lose that kind of motivation towards actually doing, like, especially all the extra things, maybe on top of work, or maybe you tend to isolate a lot when you're at burnt out. Like you don't want to do the cold reach outs to friends across the country, or to your parents, um, or people that are close, like your family or friend circle, and you tend to start isolating from stuff. Tend to not really want to go outside. Like, you just want to just lay on the couch and just lay in bed all day, and you might be able to get yourself and go up and do some stuff, but it's like those extra things. Like, man, like 6 months ago, like I was doing this without any resistance. But now I have this big resistance inside of me doing these things. Why? And if you're able to recognize and just take a moment to kind of like separate yourself, like that, you separate yourself from the task, and like the vibe that you give off when it comes to doing the task. Because a lot of times when we're burnt out, we put it off. We're like, man, I don't want to do any of that right now. I don't want to do none of that right now. I just want to sit down and scroll through Twitter. You're like, that sounds way better than doing this big old project. So what do? We go on Twitter. And so, but the root of that is we have some resistance towards the thing. Okay, what's the resistance towards the thing? The resistance towards the thing, that's where you have to start doing like the introspective work and start asking some deep kind of reflective questions. You gotta, that answer for why you're having that resistance is within yourself. And a lot of times it could be just because we're doing too much and we need a little bit of a break, and we need a little weekend getaway, or just a time to just like get away from all of these types of energy vampires, I like to call them, or suckers, that are draining it from me. Because um, I like to think of things as like batteries or energy tanks. And when we have an interference in our life, whether it be um, like fit, like personal health, well-being, or financial health, or relational health, familial health, um, faith health, your connection with God, or your connection with yourself. A lot of it does come down to relationships. But actually diving in and identifying what is that resistance, what piece of me is there that interference, and then let's figure out how to get that interference addressed. So burnout really, and the things that we do at burnout, the things we feel at burnout, are the fruits, but they're not necessarily the root of why you're burnt out. And when you come to try and figure out why you are burnt out in the first place, that can be a little bit tricky. So that is also kind of ties in with how step one is being aware. Step one is getting that awareness. Now, when we figure out what that awareness is, I mean, there's some exercises that can pull that out of you. Typically, it's doing something hard. Typically, doing something hard and figure out, like, why am I actually doing this? Like for me, it was I had a lot of resistance towards like doing like social media or emails, like my newsletter. I used to do a brain health newsletter last year. I do it every Tuesday morning. I did it for about 52 weeks straight. And I just had a tough time getting that done this year. Um, no excuses. I just had a big resistance towards it. And I was like, man, like, what is this? Why am I having a tough time just having like the want and the drive to do this? And I just kept trying to figure out like why. And for a part of that, I thought that, okay, maybe it's like I'm not necessarily feeling like as much financial pressure as I used to, because I'm used to being at either -dollars or $0, because I was a student for 17, 20 years. And my job was baseball, and I didn't get work. So like me just getting over the hump of how our paycheck works, like in the clinic, like we get bonus and stuff. Once we have like different like thresholds, but like we have incentives as associates to hit, which keeps us motivated. Um, And for me, it's like I'm used to being at like negative dollars. I'm used to be at $0. So just anywhere away from zero, I was just all like, shoot, like I can pay for rent this month. Great. Um, so I was like, okay, like is that it? I thought that might have been it for a little bit, but I still had the same issue. It was my afternoons. Like my afternoons, I would get there and I'd be like, dude, like I don't want to do it. Dang, like I got all my patients, love seeing my patients. I freaking love showing up to the clinic and getting to do what I do. It is an absolute privilege. And then I get to the afternoon, I'm done with my patients up until like I got more stuff to do. Like I've been doing it. We've been hammering this stuff for a year plus. Like man, dude, I just want to go home, go on a hike, or go golf, or just sit in a dang lawn chair one time. Give me to a lawn chair with the sunset. Um, and like, okay, what about like the clinical, like why? Like, and so I got a little bit like reconnected back into like why I got into upper cervical chiropractic, and a lot of that's due to I had a lot of friends who dealt with mental health issues in baseball and also in chiropractic school, and I was pretty hell bent on figuring out the connection between chiropractic nervous system and like the quality of your mind, and that's how I actually got led to upper cervical. That's also how I got led to Dr. Grant because Dr. Grant came and taught at our school at a seminar that I attended. There's like 18 of us, and he literally just laid down that like last piece of the puzzle I was spent a year trying to figure out, and I was just sitting in the back of the room, and I was like, "This is it. This is what I'm doing." And I got to know him, and eventually, probably about a month later, I asked him, "I want to learn from you what I have to do," and that's how a California kid ended up in Arkansas. So, hi. So get reconnected to that, but for me, the bigger root reason for why I was having resistance towards doing all of the extracurricular things was the fact that I mean, big part of my personal driver is my family, and my family is out in California, which means that I'm essentially isolated from my personal driver. And I thought that my main reason for putting in effort and trying to create an income for myself was to be able to go back and visit my fam. But I identified actually pretty much during those 2 months of like March and April. March kind of going through a lot of resistance, April spending a lot of time trying to figure it out was the fact that I that my root problem is that I'm not in practice by my family. That's I identified that's my root issue that I'm trying to solve. Um, and so that's kind of where now I'm focused on like doing what I do to have the capacity to actually open up a specific back home by my fam in Bay Area, California. And and so once I've kind of figured out that, now I have clarity. I have clarity. Okay, now I understand why I did the work, the self-reflective work to um, to generate the awareness, to do that deep kind of like searching awareness within myself to figure out why I was giving resistance and what the interference was. And then now, okay, now I understand why. Now I had that clarity. Now it's okay. Now what's the plan of attack? How can I get there? So I had the vision of where I want to be, where I want to end up, and what it's going to take. Now, what's the plan that I have to execute in between that time? Now, for me, um, that's obviously a unique place. It might be completely different for you guys. And I went through burnout pretty hard 2 years ago when I was in my final year of school, and we were hammering like I just became an intern, so I'm starting to see patients for the first time, starting to deal with paper for the first time, taking like 22 classes a quarter, and we had boards to study for. Like we were swamped with stuff, and I was running a softball team. I just created the technique that we do in our clinic, knee chest club. My school didn't have or knee chest upper cervical. My school didn't have a way to teach that to students, so I took it upon myself to create the club so that way we could get students start to learn the stuff because it's dang powerful, as a lot of you have experienced. It is potent in its healing, in its ways to restore the flow of the healing capability within all humans. And that was a big hole in our campus. So I created the club, and I was the president for that for like 3 quarters or something, and built all the systems and stuff. So like I had a lot on my plate, and I couldn't hold up all the weight anymore. And I'm sure a lot of you have felt that. at some point in your life, or you might be feeling that right now. So, what I learned, um, and this next part is the big takeaway I want you all to kind of implement over these next few days, weeks, be able to check in with it. We have three energy tanks. Okay, almost like a battery of the like of your iPhone, how I have the battery charge, right? We have three energy tanks. For some of us on here, you might not just be hitting empty, you might be having been run on empty for who knows how long. And I hope for someone who might be dealing with that, that just hit. I got told that in May of 22. I got told, Chris, you're not just hitting E, you've been on E. And that hit me just poof. I was like, man, like I always used to be the person that people come up to is like, how are you enjoying this? How are you enjoying taking 22 classes, studying for national boards, managing all the stuff you're doing, and always appear like you're having just an absolute blast doing it and like never tired. And then all of a sudden I get told that I've not just hitting E, but I've been on E. And the fact that I felt that, I was like, you are 100% correct. That's when I was like, okay, I got to figure out like the interference to this because the only person who has the capability of removing the interference in your life is yourself. That's it. That you are the only person that's capable of removing that, whether it's in your own physiology and your own innate system, which is what we are philosophically actually measuring with the scans. We're measuring your innate ability to actually heal and communicate with the self, or you're educated. What can I consciously, educatively kind of decipher and figure out where where are my habits, because really it comes down to our habits. Where are my habits and my kind of drive, where's that getting interfered with? So back to the batteries. I want to wrap this up with the batteries. We have three battery tanks. We have a daily energy tank, a weekly fun tank, and a monthly tank as well. Three tanks. Okay. So the daily tank is designed towards getting you to not just survive, but thrive through the day to have sustainable energy for that day. I call it the business tank. These are your health habits. The business tank is your health habits. Okay. The daily tank is your health habits. So, things to pour into for your health habits. Once again, it's the same stuff as the health house, which I just made a guide for. So, um, maybe I can figure out a way to drop the link to the guide. It's 24 pages. I did not chat GPT any of it. It is all straight from my dome, the same kind of tactics that I am talking about right now. But daily, move, move your body around, get blood flowing. Movement isn't just to be able to say, oh, I exercise today. Like it releases a ton of hormones that are really good for you. It's going to provide a lot of blood flow to your brain, which is critical for cognition and mood. It's going to be releasing serotonin, dopamine. That's the stuff that makes you feel good and feel like you are on top of the world. A lot of that comes from moving good. A lot of it comes from eating good. A lot of that comes from sleeping good. A lot of that comes from doing something, learning something, and doing some kind of like inventory of yourself, regardless of how long it is, on a daily basis. Um, and the most ideal way to go about that is to knock out all of those things without any kind of distractions, which the only time that we have actually to ourselves before anyone can interrupt us is in the morning, truly, especially if you're a parent. Um, and that might be potentially earlier for some people than they would like to, but how often do you wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock and you already got someone talking to you? You already got someone pinging you on your phone. Your watch is already buzzing. You already are opening up emails and you haven't even done anything. You haven't had any time for you. When you try to make up that time during the day, taking a nap or taking a walk or doing something at night, but your day is already quote unquote polluted if you haven't really done that kind of stuff in the morning. Now, it can be kind of hard when um, if you have early mornings, like for some of us, like sometimes we see patients at 7:30, and that can lead to and we have an unwritten rule. We need to be at the office 30 minutes before a patient shows up. So that means we're getting out the door at 6:50. How can I hit all of those things at 6:50? How can I maximize that? The way that I like to approach it is care more about the ingredients, not the quantity. Okay, so I've had days where I slept in till 6:30, rolled out of bed, did push-ups in my bathroom floor, just get some blood flowing to my brain to wake me up. Go take a cold shower because that also helps out with a ton of hormones and neurotransmitters and just gets me starting to fire properly. And then read a page from like a daily devotional, do a like a quick medi to just kind of like get inventory of where I'm at cognitively, mentally, or whatever, kind of set the tone for the day. I'll ask myself like, okay, like what's your vibe for the day? And sometimes the one that comes up commonly is a smooth, calm, jazzy bounce. That's if that comes into my head, like it's gonna be a good day. Um, and then and just kind of like do something that's going to set the tone, and that's the daily stuff. And if we can start chipping away at that daily, we're going to start feeling pretty dang good by the end of the week, and we're not going to be those kind of people that are all like, man, I just need to get to the weekend. We don't want to be that. Like there shouldn't be a reason why the stuff that we do on a weekend we can't blend in during our week, which is where the weekly fun tank comes into play. So for the people that are on here right now, if you can potentially, I would suggest writing this question down, or maybe like on your phone notes, or just on like a sticky note or something. But I want to encourage you all to ask yourself, what does 7-year-old me like to do? Okay, I want you to list out top three things that 7-year-old you likes to do. For some people here that are my patient, I might have asked you that already before. Um, but whatever those answers are, those things are, think then of the categories of that thing. So for me, 7-year-old Chris likes to catch views with a V, so views, likes to watch things fly, and likes to watch Star Wars. That's three things that 3-year-old Chris likes, 7-year-old Chris likes to do. So for me, views, that for me, like I'm a big nature person, as you can tell here. I like my views. Like I took these pictures, so I'm big in like I'm big into photography. I'm big into sunsets. I got a water bottle that's just caked in like sunset stickers and stuff. I didn't even realize that all my stickers are basically the same thing until I just noticed that one day, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Um, Love catching sunsets. I really enjoy sitting in a lawn chair. It is just, I don't think there's anything that's more relaxing than just posting up in a lawn chair, personally. I really like hiking, I like kayaking, just like being outside. So for me, and I really like being looking out at a vast view. So for people on here, there's some people here that are like friends with me on Facebook and stuff. I really enjoy Pinnacle. I'll just sit on Pinnacle for like an hour and just soak in it. And like there's a lot of like physiology that I could go into about how this, like all these mechanisms and things of how that plays a role. But really it's just like fill your cup up and don't wait for the weekend to get your cup filled up, because the issue is that we don't want to have our cup filled up. We want to have our cup overflowing. We want to have all these different pieces, all these components overflowing. We want to have our our fitness health overflowing. We want to have our familial health, relational health overflowing. We want to have our mental, emotional health overflowing. Um, our spiritual health overflowing. Our financial health overflowing. We want all those things to be overflowing. And the second that one starts to basically dip a little bit below overflowing, that's when we tend to, because that's getting withdrawn from, and it's not receiving any kind of deposits. All it's getting is withdrawals. We want to be making deposits into this, onto these things, and just basically tending to them from a far out kind of observation versus having them close up and having it spill on you and get a little bit messy. And that can happen if we start to kind of check out a little bit. So the key with the 7 things that you do for your 7-year-old health or your 7-year-old self. So for me, views were number one. Watching things fly, number two. I was big into sports growing up, still am big into sports. So for me, watching things fly, one of my favorite things to do in life is play catch, especially as a kid, or field ground balls. So now as an adult, for me, that's like playing golf or playing some kind of like sport, just throwing something, or even just like watching sports too. That also is good for me too. So that fills that tank up. And then for me, the third piece, Star Wars. Star Wars was my entire childhood. Um, Absolutely love. I used to watch Luke Skywalker blow up the Death Star every single morning at 6 a.m. to the point where my dad had to put a password on the TV because I kept waking him up for work. So um, I try to hit one of those things each during my week. So a really good week for Chris is if I can mix in like one view during the week, maybe one view on the weekend, maybe doing like one thing of watching things fly. So basically like playing sports once a week, and then maybe like watching one thing that's kind of like in that like action um, theatrical type something on TV. So like for instance, I just finished watching Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is sick. Okay, it's a really awesome show. So stuff like that. But that kind of helps me. That's like my mechanism of like a healthy disconnect from the daily kind of doing stuff that we're most of us are doing from like 8 to like 6 or whatever. The mornings, the kind of morning flow gives me a little bit of gap to make sure I'm good and taken care of, and I've given myself some time and space to check in with me before I go and pour out to all the others. Evening is the kind of time to separate a little bit and also get primed up for the next day. Um, the weekly fun tank, those aren't things to do only on the weekend, but if you can try to figure out little just times, little moments during the week to kind of just sprinkle those things in without like a strict parameter, just when you're in the mood for it. Like if I'm driving home on a Tuesday evening and there's a nice sunset going on, like shoot, I might just pull over at the top of the hill, find a grass lot, and throw it on my chair for like 15, 20 minutes and just soak in it. And that will do wonders for you. I'm telling you, it'll do wonders for you. Um, the last tank, monthly tank, that is one thing that you do on the weekend that you normally would not do, and you just do one thing a month that you normally wouldn't do, kind of get you out of that pattern a little bit. It can be like a day trip, it can be a little weekend trip, it can just be just literally just like doing an activity on a Saturday night that you just normally would not do. And when you get to the end of the year and you look back on your year that you had, you're like, man, I had a pretty awesome year. Like I did a lot of stuff. Um, and when doing that, like the fun tank feeds into the business tank, feeds into the daily tank. So and the monthly tank feeds into the fun tank. So if we're not tending to the monthly tank of like doing something spontaneous once a month and also the weekly fun tank, if we're not pouring into those, then there's nothing that's supplementing the daily tank. And if the daily tank basically looks like you waking up, showering, putting on your makeup, going straight to work, that's going to get depleted really quick. It's got no source. It's got nothing filling it up. How do you expect it to stay sustainable when you're not doing the things that are filling it up? So I highly recommend getting the daily flow down. Like, what are your morning ingredients that you can do that are going to promote your own health? Because your health is what gives you energy. It's not just your frame of mind, or it's not just coffee that gives you that makes you good. But like the things that we do and the things that we eat, those are actually what makes our cells work well. Like drinking water makes your cells work well. So drink water. There's a reason all the medical doctors tell you drink water and exercise more. Now they don't give you any kind of specifics or tips, but um, they should. Well, it's probably because they don't actually do the work themselves. So I'm not going to get into that rant, but um, do the daily things, ideally in the morning, so you can make sure that they're checked off the box. It's almost like trying to play a sports series, a 7 game basketball. Basketball's in playoffs right now, so it's best of 7. So when you win 4 games, the series is over. You move on. Well, imagine if every morning you went 4-0 in your morning before you even interacted with a different human. If you chalk up 4 dubs, 4 wins every morning before you interact with another person, it is impossible to lose a 7 game series if you start the morning 4-0. Impossible. It cannot happen because you went 4-0 and it's a 7 game series. There's only 3 games left. You cannot lose the series you already won. So you can win the day by just getting the morning, like getting a little morning walk in, spending some good intentional time with your mind. Like I'm talking like active thoughts, like checking, like, hey, yo, how are you? Like, how are you doing? Like, where are you at? Like, what do you need to connect to right now? Um, what's your vibe gonna be today? What are you bringing to the table? Um, just like actual like deep type intentional questions with that versus just kind of daydream about. I mean, you can visualize your day too. That's a great exercise. But like doing something that's going to get you primed and ready up. Give that inventory to yourself, and then uh, do that stuff daily. Um, the weekly blend in spontaneously some fun little things, just some good components that can get you to just kind of like hit that unwind a little bit. That's going to fuel up the fun tank that will feed into the daily business tank. And then lastly, just once a month, sprinkle in something that you're like, I do not normally do this. Like one for me could be like going out to Fayetteville to catch a Razorbacks game. That's not something I do every month. That's not something I do every weekend. That's not something I do every day. But when I do it, it's a dang good time. Um, Now, I hope that it's from what I'm seeing on the comments. This is hitting home for some people. So thank you guys for tuning in, and also thank you guys for paying attention. Um, the main thing with these things that I just said, this is going to go all the way back to what I said in the beginning. All the way back to what I said in the beginning. There's 2 sides of the coin. The thing that you're doing, either it's serving you or you are serving it. Right now, it sounds like you guys are going to take this, take it home, implement these kind of things, start figuring out your ingredients, your recipe on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And it's going to sustain you and probably get you to your, like, probably get you to be operating like the version of yourself that you've always envisioned being pretty quick and also pretty sustainable. I'm telling you, it will be sustainable. It's a physical, a mental, an emotional, personal victory every single day, a fun tank that you sprinkle in throughout the week, not just on the weekend, and then something in the month. And if you have the mindset that I don't have enough time to do this, everyone's got 24 hours, every single person. I guarantee you, if you journaled every little thing that you did for 24 hours, you would find time where time is beating you and that where you are falling behind. More than likely, it's because you're on your phone or you're watching TV. So all you gotta do is just substitute that with something in the fun tank, get the heck off the dang phone, and go do something fun. That's it. But it can be easy, or not necessarily easy, but there is a potential for susceptibility to get into these things so much to where it can become almost like a trap in a cage, and to where you are serving the thing, where you are doing the task because you tell yourself you're going to do it, and you're forcing yourself to do it when your body, when your system is saying like, yo, we need a breather from this. We need a break from this. Right now, you are a slave to the activity versus the activity filling you up. That's the whole point of having healthy habits. Is the whole point of doing things that are good for us. It's supposed to fill us up. But how many people out there are doing the thing because they are told to, because they think they need to, and they're coming at it from a mindset of they're trapped by the thing. Don't be trapped by the thing. Corral the thing. make it fuel you up, vary it from day to day, the intensity of it, what your body's actually needing, so that you can have a sustainable, smooth, jazzy bounce day in and day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. So that is my burnout breakdown. And I hope you guys have some takeaways from that. That was a free flow. I had zero of that scripted. Um, but this is a topic that that I talked to a lot of people about, and this is a topic that I kind of had a big wake up call to, kind of mix smack front hand backhand to the face a couple years ago. Um, really haven't been at any kind of burnout until really, I mean, like March and April. I was just a little bit tapped. I was just a little bit like disconnected from like, okay, like what am I doing all this for? And once I kind of did that introspective work, um, did what I knew would create awareness, and ask questions I knew would create awareness. Eventually, it pulled the answer out of me. An answer's within you, and then you get the clarity. The clarity creates velocity, and now you're moving closer to where you want to be faster. And in order to get there accurately, you need to have balance. Because even if a Ferrari is going 200 miles at a target, but with wobbly wheels, it's probably not going to make it there. So you need to have balance. Balance is not something that is like, oh, I worked hard, therefore I need to like they call like life balance, live life balance, work life balance. To me, it's contrast. Like if I have a seesaw, no seesaw guy, the only way, and I put both people on it and it just doesn't move, that's because there's equal weight on opposite sides, which is contrast. So if you work really hard, then you need to relax at the same intensity. You need to fill the fun tank up at the same intensity that you go out to work, because that's going to create the balance, which is actually achieved from contrast. So if we have clarity, that creates velocity. If we have balance, that creates stability. And then we have focus of where we're trying to go, who I can help along the way, and who can help me along the way. And that creates accuracy. And then we're going to get there quick, get to where you want to be quick. And for the people who are tuning in tonight, from the comments I'm seeing, it seems like a lot of us want to be operating at that kind of high, energetic, happy, juiced up version of themselves, of their mind, of their emotion, of how they feel about themselves, their body, um, on a consistent basis. And I think rootly, that's a deep thing that I think a lot of people are looking for. So please write down your takeaways. You need to write that down. Balance, stability, accuracy. Thank you. Yeah, that's actually from this book I'm rereading called "Connected to Goodness" by David Meltzer. Um, I read this book probably about once a year. It's like a business book, but also like a little life book. And this is a book that got me out of burnout. Actually, yeah, I read this for the first time in 2022 in Ireland. This is a month after I was told that I hadn't just been on, or that I hadn't just hit E, that I'd been on E. And I read that about once a year. And every time I read that book, for some reason, things start clicking for me again. And it's pretty interesting how the stuff that you read, that's actually what starts. You kind of almost like experience it, or you recognize it more in your life. It's very interesting. I don't know if you guys experience that, but I know I do. So, anyways, this is awesome. This is fun. This is a topic I'm pretty passionate about going in on, as you can hopefully feel and recognize. And I'm glad that you guys got some pretty awesome takeaways from it. So that's awesome. I really appreciate that. Appreciate you guys tuning in, being interactive, plugging in comments, feeling the urge to comment. We love it when you guys comment and stuff, and just interact with us, because I'm pretty much talking to to myself on my phone right now. That's on a tripod, um, and this is great. This is a good topic. If you guys have insights into what we should go on next. Keep going down dives of this kind of stuff. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy doing this. Um, and I enjoy kind of having it be interactive and going like a Q&A style or just going down a rabbit hole or something. Say we went down the rabbit hole, burnout, and it ended up being a really awesome talk. So thank you for tuning in. That was wonderful. We always do giveaways, and there is a lot of comments for me to count, and I can only count to 12. So um, there's a little bit too many comments for me to go through. Um, I would like you guys to, for those that are still here, um, to comment weekly fun. You're going to comment weekly fun, throw it into the chat. For those that are still here, looks like there are 10 people still listening to it. Weekly fun. If you want to enter to win, our baseline has been a free massage. We need to get a little bit reconnected with like varying up the gifts and stuff. Um, I mean, we're kind of going through it too. Like Grant traveled for 4 straight weekends, and then he's already got another trip like next weekend. He's got like board meetings and stuff through the month. Cam just went on a vacation, but he's been navigating like his Achilles injury and also like his 6-month-old daughter not sleeping and trying to be a dad through all that. And I've been navigating trying to do all this stuff for my families across the country. So like I mean, all like we're all humans, right? And for a lot of us at the clinic, like this month of May, I mean, we've all been kind of ebbing and flowing through it. Right now, Grant's a little bit tapped, so if you see him, give him some positive juice. Um, but we're all on the kind of upswing from it. So hopefully we'll have some varied up giveaways coming soon. But baseline, what we got is a massage, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 peeps. 7 peeps commented weekly fun. That is the recipe. Tammy, the Downums are cooking and they're playing tennis. Let's go. I am going to do a random number generator. Random number generator 1, 2, 7. And we're going to generate. And we generated, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, we generated the number 5. That's a 5. Hey, yo. So we go to 5 on the comments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dan Elam is the weekly fun massage recipient. Brought to you by our lovely random number generator, the Google generator. And the cool thing is that all of you now will be the sole generator for your weekly fun tank that we're going to be tapping into, along with the daily business personal tank that we're tapping into, along with the monthly fun tank tapping into. Danny Lem, reach out to us. You can pick up your massage voucher in our clinic at Ranch Boulevard, 8201 Ranch Boulevard, Suite B5. Check us out. Reach out to us. Connect with us. And we'll see you guys next week. Love y'all. Thank you. Take care.